Hey guys, welcome back to Ciro's Typology. And today we're going to type this fabulous gentleman, Alan Cumming. He is an actor, he's a Scottish elf, he is a TV show host, he is a Broadway performer, he's an author. He's just kind of everywhere and all over the place, everywhere at once. It was actually kind of hard picking videos to type him from because there's just so much. Like, from maybe a month ago when I first got curious about his type, there's been like an influx of new videos. I did think this one was pretty good though, um, as far as typing material, because the first one that I looked at, I wait, where'd it go? Here we go. This was just kind of confusing because I'm like, it's like, what am I looking at right now? I mean, the look, the lavender suit, he looks great. But it was kind of skewing, I think, my perception to the point where I was thinking, well, maybe he's one fixed because he's so sharp, such a, I don't know, such an extreme character in the outfit and everything. But I don't think he's one fixed after watching some more material. I think like many of these really big theatrical personalities that I find myself drawn to, I think he's a triple posse. Like when I was a kid, I really loved Dolly Parton. Like anytime she would come on the TV screen, I was like glued to the screen. I even liked Richard Simmons, Drew Barrymore. Um, all these like very theatrical, animated, campy, over the top triple posies. I just have like a real soft place in my heart for them. Um, but Alan Cumming, and the interesting thing about him that I don't think you would guess if you were just kind of familiar with him in a more casual sense, like from his work and TV appearances, is that he did grow up in a very abusive home where his father was very controlling and belittling to him, told him he was worthless. I think he was also like physically abusive, while his mother figure was far more loving, as you know, a mother should be. But the fact that he managed to overcome, to a large degree, that abuse and programming to become a very successful and seemingly happy and well-adjusted actor is very interesting, and I think it's also good information for his type structure. And I looked up some of the books that he's written, and the first result that came up is Not My Father's Son, which is interesting and kind of like a hexad departure from, that core attachment figure of like, I am not who you say I am. I'm not what you were mirroring back to me. I am my own entity. And then you gotta get bigger dreams, which is so seven. And I do think that he is a core seven wing six. And he's written a couple children's books and a book called May the Foreskin Be With You. Why circumcision makes no sense and what you can do about it. I do think like he has the super ego influence from his two fix, which is quite noticeable. Initially, I was thinking he might even be a core two because I've been watching this show called The Killer Among Us, where he is the host and he is so like theatrical and campy and over the top. I was like, he seems like a heart type. But I think that's something he can easily put on because it is accessible to him. But I don't think that, I think he's a head type, and I think that you'll be able to see why.
I mean, truly, my dad told me I was worthless, and my mum told me I was precious. So that you have this, and of course, you want to believe your mum. Yeah. But so and it was obviously I am a strong person, and I have overcome. I have functioned very well for someone who has had an abusive childhood, I think. But
And I think that's interesting because in another interview, I heard him say that he had his dad telling him all these horrible things about himself and his mom being the opposite. And he felt like they were both wrong, which I thought was interesting. And it's also kind of like a Haxati, heart image place to take of like, I'm not gonna like attach to either one of you because the messaging is so inconsistent that I'm not really able to get the mirroring that I needed. And I do have this theory that has been like percolating in my head that two develops as a heart fix when, as a young child, you are not able to get the mirroring from your core, caregiver, like your mother, your father, whatever, that you need consistently. It's just not available to you. So you start putting up that rejection wall. Or, maybe you experienced abuse and like a parent that was mentally ill and they routinely were verbally abusive and said those horrible things to you, like that would just be stabbing you in your little burgeoning heart image center. So you erect walls and you kind of shut yourself off from the outside world and you aren't getting what you need. So you determine to become that thing that you need, the source of, well, for two, it's like the source of goodness and positivity. And I think with him probably being like two wing three, there's added like assertiveness or like even this muscular effect of like, whatever this crap is that life throws at me, I will overcome it. I will not sink down. I will not succumb to my circumstances.
it's still with me. When I saw him afterwards, he said, "Oh, Alan," and I went, "Oh, was it really bad? Did she really look like she was offended?" And she went, "She visibly stiffened." Oh, I love visibly stiffened. And so then we met her. She was nice when we met her. I feel I'm just like
Brooding.
players, blah blah. And he said, "Oh, of what I've actually said, like rolling my eyes at what I was like."
Alan, you legend Cumming. How are you?
Pretty good. A
Yeah?
little jet lag, little exhausted, but I'm not. I mean, I'm here for you.
I know you are.
But
You're a true pro.
yeah, true pro.
You
I
absolutely
love
are.
a chat, but I'm in my
So, and that was interesting that he's like, he's exhausted, he's jet lagged, but he's like, I'm here for you. It's like, um, I think like the seven and two fixed together is just saying yes. It's not saying no. It's like yes to opportunities, especially like interpersonal things like this.
general demeanor of life right now. I've had a crazy week.
You've
Even
been
for
in
me.
how many continents in the last 2 days?
Well, I was in New York last night, and the night before that I was in Los Angeles, and the 2 days before that I was in New York, and 2 days before that I was in Aberdeen.
I mean, you're in one of those states where time is meaningless. Like, what is
Yeah,
it?
I know, and it's
And like I have noticed with core sevens that they tend to really like co overcommit to commit to too many things. Like, and it might be like a type structure thing of like always needing to stay busy and needing to like be doing stuff. Or maybe possibly succumbing to feelings of feeling empty and hollow inside, which you don't want to do.
it's also like I had a 10-minute nap that was brilliant.
Oh, did that work? If I have
Yeah.
a nap, I usually feel worse, like
Oh,
groggy.
no, I can like I'm very good at napping, and I'm always good. But I can also just think, okay, I thought I was going to have a nap for half an hour. I've only got 10 minutes. I'm going to make it really count.
And you can fall asleep that quickly. Wow, I'm so jealous.
I can sleep. I always sleep on planes. I always sleep in cars. I sleep on floors and in dressing rooms and things like that. I just have got. Gosh, you've got written a lot of books. I knew you'd written this one because I saw you on
Oh,
telly. But
I've
all
written-
those ones over there.
I've written more than that even.
How many have you written altogether?
16, Ellen.
Shut up.
I got to keep busy. I can't sit around.
And you see what he was doing there? He's like, I'm talking about myself. This is boring. Oh my gosh, look at all your books. So he's doing like the 2-9 thing of like joyfully shining the spotlight on someone else, and he's just lighting up, like, let's talk about you.
No.
Like you.
Yeah, yes, I know.
You can't sit around. I mean,
No.
you are always, you've just, said how much you've been traveling recently. You are always on the go, whether it's could be TV, could be TV hosting, could be film, could be
Yes.
theatre, writing. You are prolific in all areas.
Yes.
Is that pure drive or is there restlessness?
I think it's a combination of things. I mean, I like being busy. I like being eclectic, and I like not ever really overly dwelling on one thing. So
Yeah, and I mean that's Seven right there in a nutshell. He doesn't want to dwell on things. He wants to be busy and eclectic. And I also think part of that is like he enjoys having all these new novel experiences, where he's trying all these different things, playing all these different kinds of characters. Um, but also he would be an FENI in um cognitive type, very similar to Micaiah, who hi Micaiah, shout out to you. Micaiah, I typed him as a FENI, and he is a core 7 triple posi. He's also into theater. He's also like this butterfly just flitting around with his schedule usually too full.
I like the sort of lightness and the nimbleness of it, and sort of floating through life. I do.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Just like floating through life like a butterfly going from one flower exciting experience to another.
the older I get, I sort of do think, oh, you know, am I really, who am I trying to, I don't know, maybe I'm trying to prove too much or something. I sort of think that of late because, it's about 40 years since I've been working as a professional actor and person. So, but no, I just actually think I have a lot of, I'm given a lot of opportunities to do things that I really like. I maybe am trying to do a little less than I have done, or there's too much. It's too much right now, but I really enjoy it, and
Yeah.
yeah. But
And
I
that's a
don't.
gift.
Yeah, and he's not like complaining about his crazy schedule. He's like constantly positive, reframing everything. I'll cut it back someday, but it's really too much. But like for right now, I'm enjoying it.
You love what you do.
Oh my God, I absolutely. I really, it doesn't feel that like you forget. I think that most people in the real world do jobs that they don't really like in order to get money to do what they like in their lives.
Yeah.
And we get paid to do the thing we really like.
So lucky.
I know, and
So
it's
lucky.
it's an incredible thing when you have friends and they say things about like, oh well, I'm just doing this, so I think, oh God, I forgot. That's most people's experience.
Yeah, I know. We are extremely, extremely lucky. At what point do you think, as a youngster, did you have your heart set on, I think I'm going to enjoy that? Because you don't know.
And that kind of reminds me of a comment I heard one time where someone was talking about Dolly Parton on the set of Steel Magnolias, and it was like hot, they're in the South, the American South, and everyone was like bitching and complaining about the heat. And this person noticed like Dolly is just sitting there like being very pleasant and not complaining, and they asked her about it and she was like, why would I complain? Like, I'm getting to do what I love, which is part of that like triple positive magic, but also that they are able to get themselves into these scenarios where they really are like living their dream. They're doing what they really want because of the course or the push of 7. It's like, why not go for the impossible?
Could watch a film or a TV show or go to a theatre show and think, that's probably amazing. Of course, there's always going to be shit bits, unglamorous bits.
Yeah.
But you had an inkling, that's for me.
Yeah, I think I sort of thought it wasn't even actually going to the theater, going to seeing. I mean, I think I first liked the feeling of it. It was more about, and I do still feel like that. I feel like it's the feeling I get, and I like the sort of process of acting or performing or creating. That I really like, and like there's been a big upturn for me in the last sort of couple of years in dealing with all the stuff because of the traitors, and especially this last week in America has been a lot, and I have been going to these big things, but I actually was thinking, gosh, I all that stuff. I sort of said this thing like, I a little piece of you dies, a little of your soul dies every time you take a selfie and things like that, because. I had a T-shirt once, which was really good. It said, "Even though you like getting a photo taken with a celebrity, celebrities don't necessarily like getting a photo taken with you." Sorry, but true. Because I feel like all the detritus of it, uh, um, sometimes, and especially when you're promoting things, as I am right now, that becomes your job, and that's not really what I wanted to do when I first started. I didn't obviously you don't know about all that stuff.
So he doesn't enjoy the act of like promoting this stuff. He's into it for the act of like like the creative part of it, of the charge, the electricity he gets when he's embodying a role.
It's more to do with fame, right, than the job. And
Exactly.
that's
And that's a
bullshit.
totally different thing. Like when people say, "Oh, well, that comes with the job," I say, "Well, no, actually, the job is this over here." And I didn't, it wasn't when I was 20. I wasn't, on the red carpet at the Time 100 list.
No, and I think fame meant something very different back then.
Absolutely.
When I started in the 90s, it was a very different thing. I don't think I understood what it was going into the industry. I kind of thought, oh,
It's kind of annoying when the host talks so much. I might just skip over some of her
It's
parts.
such a more like with the traitors. I spend more time promoting the traitors than I actually do shooting it.
mad,
Yeah.
mad.
And that's crazy.
Yeah.
And also it's just sort of anyway, I love my job. I really do.
It's sort of funny there. He starts to like realize like, yeah, this is kind of crap that I'm having to do all this promotion. And he's like, but I love my job. Just like immediately back to like positivity.
And there's some things I like about I mean, honestly, I really uh,
He's struggling to even like articulate that there's a part of his celebrity or fame that he doesn't like.
I'm not bitching about it. I mean, I am a wee bit. Like when I'm planes and things, people want to photo me, and I don't like, and
Or like you're in the loo or something.
or picking up your dog's poop, and just like, no, not now. Or and I've got much better at just saying I don't want to.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, that's absolutely
Yeah,
okay.
and also the thing, what's really good, I've learned, if you say to someone, if I take a photo with you, everyone will see, and my entire evening will be taking photos with everyone in this room, and they go, totally get it.
Yeah.
And I think it's really good to sort of just be honest with people, and I'm always nice and kind and stuff like that, but sometimes you just think, I don't want to.
No.
And I think that's
Yeah, and I think that's a good representation here of like core assertive type because Seven is assertive and he's like, I don't want to. But he's like, of course, I'm always like nice and kind. And that's the two fix. The two fix coming in.
fair enough. You don't have to. It's not, sometimes people are like, oh, come on. But I don't know that part of it is, if it's an event and it's a premiere or something, absolutely, that's what you're there for.
Yeah, of course.
In your life, in your real life. And I suppose that's why, the older I've got, the more I've sought out sort of places away from it all.
Yes, that is so important.
Yeah,
It's so
having a
important.
sanctuary.
You can love your job, you can do it as much as you want, as long as there hasn't even got to be balance, I don't think. I think balance is usually unrealistic. I've definitely not got any balance in my life. It's sort of most of the time chaotic with work and kids, and I've chosen that.
Yeah,
But if you can have tiny moments, for me, that is usually solitude. I love being on my own.
totally.
You like
Yeah.
solitude?
Having a bath. Do you know what I mean?
I love having a bath.
And I've got this right now. I have little fans. I mean,
And I was kind of torn for him between like, is this just seven energy or is this seven plus like SOSX? Like, what is going on with his instincts? But the more I watched this, the more I was thinking like, I think he probably is SPSO because he talks a lot about like his little sanctuary, like his little place in Scotland where he can take baths and get away from it all. And there's also like this synflow feel that he has to his interview where he's like just kind of like inviting you in. He's very like obviously he's a two fix, he's very warm. But his Instagram for his level of celebrity, it doesn't look like terribly like well coordinated. It doesn't look SOSP at all to me. Like I thought this was cute.
No, life on a swing. Oh, Island of Scotland. It's Saturday night on Broadway. Pow! It's Saturday night on Broadway. Whee! Oh, yes, it is. Oh, yes, it is.
Okay, so like he's literally just swinging in his backyard and singing some, I'm assuming it's like a Broadway tune. But it feels very synflow, like this is my life, this is what I'm doing, I'm reading a script, I am doing this.
Hello, live from the Highlands of Scotland. It's Saturday night on Broadway.
Oh my gosh.
It's Saturday night on Broadway. Oh, yes, it is. Oh, yes, it is. Oh, very much.
Okay, so guys, this is a seven. Um, Very childlike, pure PEUR energy. He's just like he's having fun. He's enjoying himself. I thought this one was cute too.
A hot new bombshell enters the villa. Don't call me up. I'm going home tonight. This week.
It's just him having fun with Ewan McGregor. Um, so yeah, and I thought this was cute. His description here on his Instagram is Scottish elf trapped inside middle-aged man's body. I'm trapped. I'm an elf that's trapped in this aging body. Um, yeah, core seven, I think that's pretty much as definitive as proof of your as you're gonna find.
So I've got this new, well, it's not new, but we've had renovations done on this house, and I feel like, if you're lucky enough to be able to have a house that you can make it the way you want to. And for me, I've realized what that is a sanctuary away from everything. And I've got this house in Scotland where there's a little pond. I call it a loch. It's not really a loch. It's got an island. I call it loch.
Is there a word for a
Oh.
mini lock?
A lochen.
I think we just saw him jumping into his pond.
A locken.
Yeah, a lochen. And there's a little. I've got a sauna. Put a sauna on the banks of it and a little jetty thing. So you go in the sauna and you.
So this is like seven SPSO Wonderland. Like he's got his little sanctuary, the sauna, and all this fun stuff for him to relax in and sing his Broadway songs.
Jumping.
Love that.
The thing you're like,
I
so
love that
that's
shit.
that doesn't take long, but that
But I mean, it's also real. Like we just saw it actually exist. So this feels like just still more like Synflow, SPSO, like inviting you into his little sanctuary, his little world. It's cozy.
to me is like that's my thing. I made it and I thought about it. That's what I wanted to do, and I've done it, and I love it. My new thing that is my sort of trad wife fantasy that I want to. I've got an aga, and I want to make gluten-free scones.
So niche.
Yes, I've
Also acting out his trad life fantasy, making scones. It's it's so cute. SPSO
What do
7.
you think about these things?
Argos are tricky.
Are they?
Yeah, I had one many, many years ago. I bought a tiny cottage and it happened to have an Arga in it. I must have been 24. I barely cooked. Maybe I was younger than that. and it's always at the same temperature. So you have to obviously learn. It's a whole new way of cooking.
Yeah, yeah.
Les, maybe is there
Sorry,
three?
guys. She talks so much.
What do you think?
What's funny is that before the renovations, there was an oil one, and now we've got a new and electric one.
So that's
thinking it's
basically an
going to
oven.
yeah, it's going to be, well, it's got those things that go up like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Love
I
those.
love that. I just want to, yeah, so I want my sort of trad wife at home, and I like this thing of like, I'm going to be leaning against the little thing where the towel rails is warming your bum.
Warming your bum after a big walk or after
Yeah,
you
after being
jumped in the locken.
in Loch Lada.
Oh, so
So yeah, I do. So I
dreamy.
really, absolutely, in my life is completely the same in terms of it's not balanced, but I do have like little things that I feel, at least if I can do that,
Yes. Because when I heard you on Lulu's podcast,
Oh, yeah.
maybe a few years ago now, and she asked you if you were a workaholic. And it's a really interesting question because, perhaps I could say that I am, you could say that you are, but actually I think when I look at how prolific you've been, how diverse your career is, it seems more so that you just need to create. It's something, a desire within you it's
Yeah.
not like I just must fill my diary. It's like you've
No.
got to be creating. That's part of who you are.
Yeah, I think it's true, and I always think if you're an addict, it means that you wake up in the morning, you have to do that thing, or you can't do without the thing. I can do without. Like I love, I like the year with COVID was my favorite year of my life, not working,
Yeah.
and I just loved it.
Do you know what I loved?
What?
Not getting invited anywhere.
Yeah,
I
no,
loved it.
So yeah, I think he does.
yeah, I'm so good. I was like, oh my God,
I think he does have a nine wing one fix, and he has that small part of himself that needs to withdraw. So he like actually enjoyed COVID because it gives like core seven, always out there, always creating. Like it gave him an excuse to just take a break, and he really enjoyed it.
I forgot how much I don't like these things.
Yeah.
But just yeah, like not having that. So it's not that I didn't miss any of that that year, but I do feel it is about being creative. Like why I laugh when you said about being creative is that at my theatre that I run, at Luxury Festival Theatre, I'm the artistic director there. One of the um, people, our finance guy, Dougie, said to me, Alan, you have too many ideas. And I was like, oh, sorry. And I thought, wait, why am I saying sorry? But I sort of feel, sometimes I feel like I wish I,
Yeah, so I mean, he's a core seven. He's constantly generating all these ideas, fantasy, creation, and it's like it's maybe he's getting to the age where it's actually starting to wear him out.
didn't have so many ideas
Mm.
because I'm also quite strong-willed and I'm good at manifesting things. And so sometimes,
I'm strong-willed and good at manifesting things. Yeah, seven.
and so the other day, this is so weird. Like yesterday, was it yesterday or the day before? I met Dakota Fanning at this thing in LA, and I was talking to her about Budapest, and I said, "Oh, I love Budapest. I made a film there years ago, and she's making a film there." And I remember thinking, "Oh, I'll manifest that I want to do another film in Budapest so I can go there." And then I thought, "Oh no, don't stop it right now, because that will happen, and you want to be making scones."
Why do you think?
Okay, so like his life actually is kind of magic. Like he's like, ooh, possibilities. I'm gonna manifest going back to Budapest for a movie. And he's like, oh wait, I already have way too much stuff going on.
You're particularly good at it? Because I think over the years I've been pretty good at that. I'm just a
Manifesting.
random kid from the suburbs, and then I ended up doing this extraordinary job because I was so dead set on that idea. There was no other option. I'm not quite sure what the other bits of the alchemy are that often missing from the convo.
And it's also not crazy things I'm
You're not
if I'm
deluded.
manifesting I want to go to Budapest. That's not,
No, you're not saying I want to become a premier footballer.
right, yeah. Or yeah. But I've done things
You might
like
be good
that.
at football. I've just
I've
assumed that.
no.
No, okay.
But like I was just thinking a few years ago I did a thing. I said, I really want to do. Oh, I remember when the last time I did cabaret, I've done that musical cabaret a few times, and I did it on Broadway and I was 50 and I finished. And I remember thinking, whoa, I'll never be asked to dance like this. This is the end of something. I'll never use my body like this for my work again. And I thought, I've still got one more in Mayor. And I thought I'll do something. I'll do a show that's sort of I'll dance in a musical or something, or blah blah blah. What happened was, and I sort of was thinking, what can I do? And I ended up doing a one man dance theatre piece about Robert Burns that nearly killed me. And so that's the dangers of manifesting.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's kind of funny because he was 50, he had done this very grueling, Broadway thing, and he's like, maybe that's the end, I don't know. And then he ended up to go on to do this one man show. Like, yeah, I mean, this guy is really not being limited like the rest of us are.
You have the idea, and also you put it into action as quickly as possible. I think if you have the idea and you sort of dilly-dally too much, that's where it floats off. You've got to
Yeah.
kind of get into it straight
Focus.
away. But seemingly there's something within your personality, your makeup, whatever you've inherited from your ancestors that has enabled you to think big, dream big, and
Yeah, he's a seven.
have the discipline to do it. Because I've heard when you, for instance, did your speech when your Walk of Fame star in Hollywood
Yeah.
was placed at.
So having the discipline part come in, like I think sevens really can be really hard workers, especially if they're in a position like he is, they're doing something that they love. And he would have, I think, a triple competency overlay, like, or no, double competency overlay. So I think he's a seven wing six, a nine wing one, two wing three. So yeah, he would have that influence. It would be more subtle, but I think just seven on its own is really good at making things happen, manifesting your dreams into reality.
And you mentioned a teacher who had said some pretty shitty things about you, like you wouldn't amount to anything, you wouldn't work in the
Never
arts,
make it
whatever.
as a professional actor, yeah.
And that drove you further. I think for
Yeah.
some people that would stop you in your tracks, like, oh God, yeah, I am.
Yeah.
What am I thinking? But your mindset is often to go, well, I'm going to prove you wrong.
Yes. But I still feel that I still feel I want to speak out and say how wrong that is because I by by whatever fluke or act of will didn't, I'm a successful actor. I also feel there would be a lot of other people who would be squashed by that and
Yeah,
be
I think
damaged
most
by that.
would.
And I was damaged by that, very much so, for quite a few years. But I also realized that it's also connected to my father that I feel that in the same way that he told me I was not able to do something, I was sort of worthless in this area, this teacher. My father told me that as well. And so I feel like from a very early age, I had to make up my own mind about things because I could see that things weren't right. Or there was one person like,
And that, I mean, right there, that's frustration. Like things weren't right. I'm gonna have to write this myself. And also, I think like in the image center, again, not being able to get the mirroring that he needed, he would have effectively had to like shut himself off, like to being rejection, um, to learn how to love and nurture himself. And I mean, he's describing it as a process. Like the abuse did affect him, it did damage him, but he almost ended up using it as a springboard to go after his dreams. He certainly, like, he didn't let it stop him.
one parent telling you were terrible and nothing, and one parent telling you were great. So they can't be both right. So I feel in my life I've got two things. One, I'm suspicious of people who are extreme in their putting me down.
Mm.
And two, I let them do it for quite a while longer than I should before I get my shit together.
Mm.
That's the sort of legacy of it. But I do feel it's
Yeah, and I was kind of waffling, like, is it Nine Wing One secondary? And I'm kind of leaning back to Nine Wing One last. But I think that, you know, just the trifix of like 279 can be pretty soft and receptive and not always like I've noticed this for myself as someone who's also in this chart type. I'm not always picking up necessarily the red flags with people. Like a lot of times when we're all doing our like projecting, I'm like, well, it's hard for me to accept someone might just be a shit person. It's like maybe they're having a bad day or they didn't mean it that way. So I'll give them way too much like leash and leniency before I'm like, nah, actually I just think they're a shit person when it finally actually like occurs to me.
When that's why I spoke. I've always wanted to talk about that actually, about the teacher. And I didn't say who they were or anything. That's not what interests me. But it's about the fact that uh, I had those things happen to me that I am acknowledging were really damaging and could have ended it for me. But I persevered because I believed in myself, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, well, because when we're young, our brains are still developing.
Yeah, he believed in himself and I think that's kind of like the power of positive thinking. Also refusing to attach and own these really negative identities that people are trying to force onto you.
Oh. Of course, you're so sponge-like, taking on
Yeah.
every bit of criticism and then forming an opinion of who you are as a person, which I think we probably keep on figuring out until the day we die.
Yeah.
But when you're young, you're so susceptible to that kind of critique. And I think you've obviously talked a lot about your dad growing up, and when you're a tiny kid, especially sort of 0 to 7, where that imprint on a young kid can be lifelong.
Yeah.
It is remarkable that you've managed to override that. Because I think, again, many people, and I've sat here and interviewed lots of people, or even I could look at my own life or people that I've interviewed in other areas.
Also, I think it is very, for me, it was, I realize now my mum being this, being the polar opposite, telling me the polar opposite. I mean, truly, my dad told me I was worthless, and my mum told me I was precious. So that you have this, and of course, you want to believe your mum.
Yeah.
But so and it was obviously, I am a strong person, and I have overcome. I function very well for someone who has had an abusive childhood, I think. But it's still with me. It's still, that's what I wrote a book,
Yeah.
about it, and then I wrote another book, kind of about the fact that well, it's another book, but also about the fact that I didn't want people to think that because I had suddenly revealed all this stuff about myself, that it was all kind of tied up. It's very
Yeah.
American.
Done.
Oh yeah, fine. Oh, you
Okay.
overcame it. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, the three-ish American culture. But also I think some of that is like the 2-9 stem of wanting to be really like soft and gentle on yourself and other people, and him writing these books and putting it out there um from like a place of healing. Like, look, I overcame this abuse and you can too. You can climb out of the bucket too.
Shot it in Manchester. And in a funny way, I remember thinking, oh, I'm going to Manchester. And my guy ran a bar in the story on Canal Street, and I've never really spent very much time in Manchester, only just little fleeting visits. And I remember thinking, oh, I'll have a great time. I'll be out in Canal Street. I'll go to all that. Oh, it'll be really fun. I'll let go because I'll go dancing all the time. But nothing. I was like a monk. I, went out a couple of times at weekends, but no, I I would go home and be quiet. I know it's so not like me, actually. But that was the way I dealt with it. And I had my dog with me, and I think that was really important.
Yeah.
For a lot of the time, Lala was with me, and just having to go out with her and having to sort of get up a bit earlier and just, and even just the gym, I've become one of those people that sort of wax lyrical about the gym. And recently I found myself saying, I really put, what's your favorite non-alcoholic beer? And I thought, what have they done to Alan? And I'm drinking again. But I just really was, I let it, in a funny sort of way, having access to your emotions and being someone that is, very conscious of that a lot of the things that I have to do are um, triggering or challenging to what's, some of the things that I found really difficult in my life. And I'm not, I go through life, I'm a happy person, but I'm also, prepared to be vulnerable. And I think that's what you have to do to be an actor, to be a good
Yeah.
actor. You have to be prepared to be vulnerable. So if you, and of course it's not, you can't just switch it off. But the fact that I use the fact that I am like that in life, I feel like I feel like I'm like that. I'm like I'm constantly joy is here, but also despair is maybe there too.
Yeah.
And I'm not despairing a lot of the time, but I feel things, and so I use that in my work. But
Yeah.
also, I usually I would to sort of get out of it, I would go out and have fun and da da da. With
Yeah.
in this one,
To get out of it, I would go out and have fun. Yeah, I mean, it's seven, like he is experiencing joy, but also like the thing of staying really busy and preoccupied to keep from sinking into the the despair and the muck. But he's aware of it and he can access it for like emotionally parts that require him to be like emotionally vulnerable.
it was. Also, I didn't know so many people in Manchester, and so going out in public when you don't know so many people, you have to go out in a posse to keep, you know.
Yeah.
So that
Keep
was one of the
safe.
things as well, and I, yeah. So I was a little bit of a monk.
Do you think it's always helpful to sort of have that?
And I'm not really sure, like, again, about the order of the fixes. Like, it could very well be 911 because I've heard him a couple times describe himself as shy, which I seriously doubt. But he does have that element of like withdrawal and softness to his personality.
I mean, very and very well spoken, but they weren't the kind of people you'd like to fool around with, if you know what I mean. Yeah, that's a long time ago. A long God, look how different I look. See myself on the monitor. Yeah, that isn't that funny?
I mean, that was right. I mean, the end of Kubrick, of course, but in his life.
Yeah.
But what was that experience like?
It was absolutely great because you know it was I think everyone knew it was kind of going to be his last film, so but it just took so long for it to happen. It shot for a year and a half.
That's
And
incredible,
I
man.
know. Can you imagine? And I came onto it like a year in, and I auditioned like six, seven times for like one scene, and so I did it, and I'd never met Stanley, and I went to the on the first day, and it was time for me to go to the set, and so there was Tom Cruise and Stanley Kubrick, and I'd met Tom before. He was very nice, and I went, hey Stanley, it's nice to meet you finally. I'm Alan, and he was all like, "You're not American," and I was like, "I know, I'm Scottish," and he went, "Well, you were American on the tape," and I went, "Yeah, that's because I'm an actor."
You said that to
I said that because it was like 6 o'clock in the morning, and I was just like,
I thought that was funny and a little bit of like the frustration of like, yeah, I'm an actor. Stanley Kubrick, who I think he was like in 854 or something, kind of like a dark and imposing figure. And core sort of thought with frustration, he wasn't going to be pushed around by Stanley Kubrick at 6 in the morning.
"Screw you, old man." This is not King Lear I'm playing here. I was just too early, and I just thought, I mean, kind of, in retrospect, well, not in right. I'm glad I said it because he sort of went, oh, and after that we got on like a house on fire. I mean, really, really had a lovely time, and I shot in the film for a week, and we just laughed like drains, and then also we kept in touch afterwards because his nephew is a friend of mine, and he's been the stills photographer in a couple of things I've done. So, but yeah, he was lovely. I mean, I think if I'd cowed and been like, oh, sorry, Stanley, then I think it's sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy. He probably would have acted more scary towards me, like
Right.
you hear he acted towards other actors.
Yeah, it's a pretty iconic scene if you think about it. You're up there. It's a Kubrick film with
Yeah.
Kubrick, and it is Tom Cruise.
And it's Tom Cruise and there's the whole kind of Tom Cruise's baggage. I think helped that scene as well.
It did, yeah.
Well, do you know what I mean? I mean, the sort of all the rumors about being gay. Well, I mean, I certainly didn't. I have quite a good gaydar, I think, but I didn't get any from him. He didn't. But of anything. But I think in a way why that scene's so, memorable is the idea that someone's so blatantly coming on to Tom Cruise is so like, oh my gosh, he's going to get sued.
Doesn't happen like that.
Yeah, no.
Okay, yeah. So interesting. 7, core assertive, positive, frustration. Yeah, I think it's all there. As I'm trying to show, I'm trying to like not do these super sloppy vibe typings, which can be fun, in their own. But Alan Cumming, I love him. He's a great character actor, and I have him as an SPSO 7 wing 6. Oh God, we'll say 2 wing 3 secondary, 9 wing 1 last, and I'm not sure that's like entirely fixed. I think like your second and third fix, they might swap up throughout your life as needed, because like why not? But anyways, guys, thanks for joining me. If you would like to be typed by me either in Voltology, either with your cognitive function usage, or in the Enneagram, you can hit me up in the comments, or I'll have my Ko-Fi link below. But anyways, guys, thank you. Bye.